Give me a second to recoup. I'm watching something.
General stuck in a box where they have to do with do what's expected of
So
them.
give.
All right, get my lighting. According to Shannon Sharp, you can just go live accidentally, right, and just be caught caught deep in the puss. With although you had to like hit like 20 freaking buttons before you went live, but I'm sure, yeah, we all can go live by accident, just straight deep stroking by accident, because that sort of stuff happens all the time. Let me fix my chat filter here. So this is gonna be another Ask Me Anything format, uh, and then I'm gonna get back to doing topics for the rest of the week. But I figured I'd try another Ask Me Anything format, see how it rocks, and if it doesn't, yeah, okay, so be it. I'm surrounded by my collectibles and my books, a bunch of which I still need to read. My cool little collectibles, like a little Smithsonian space shuttle here. This is the space shuttle. Which one is this? Oh, Discovery. I think Discovery was like one of Discovery ran like the last missions for the space shuttle um, missions back in like the early 2000s. So yeah, it was one of those things I wanted from the Smithsonian. Another thing I'm going to get that I didn't, well, I did get there, but I haven't had in a long time was the so-called space uh, astronaut ice cream, which they don't actually eat that in space, but it was a, but they did actually use the actual process of how they, uh, I guess, freeze dried food for them back then. But the ice cream wasn't part of it. That was just something for us to enjoy at the museum, and kids like myself enjoyed it. Me and my little sisters. Um, I was gonna buy some more because I wanted to let my wife try it, see if she likes it. I might just have it mailed to her as a surprise. But what's up to everyone in the chat room? Guys, this is Ask Me Anything Tuesday. Ask me questions. As long as they're family friendly questions, go ahead and ask me. I can't promise you that I know everything, but um, you can definitely ask me questions and we can have a little chat. And if you like it, hang around, subscribe, like my channel. Um, you can share videos, whatever. A bit of a nerd and a bit of a martial arts aficionado. I travel a little bit. I talk a lot of crap when it comes to politics and trending topics. So, um, and so if you guys have a question, you don't have to say I have a question. Just go ahead and ask the question. It's not it's not school where you have to raise your hand and just go ahead and shoot. Like I said, as long as they are family friendly questions, that's all I say. That I only have two provisos that they're family friendly questions. Oh, let me turn up the volume. Sorry, guys. My bad. So yeah, I only have two provisos. One is that it's a family friendly question, and two, you're not asking me some sort of therapeutic question because I'm not um, doing that sort of stuff. I helped one person 2 years ago, and I was not compensated for it at all for helping him. Someone who who has self-proclaimed himself as being quite wealthy couldn't even shell out $5 on the super chat to hook your boy up with some fruit snacks or some coffee. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, like cool, I helped you out. Then like, why don't you, show some appreciation with $5? Show me, so I can buy some fruit snacks or buy some coffee. Nah, but you are a self-proclaimed millionaire. So I don't give therapy. So if you're asking me a therapeutic question, you're gonna have to drop a super chat. And if it's not family friendly, it will be it will have you timed out. But aside from that, ask anything you like. Is it Emil Lloyd says, "What should I do if my wife took the kids and turned them against me and then divorced me and she's taking me to court sealing for full custody and false claims. Now I'm facing life in jail." Again, that's above my pay grade. Like I'm not giving out those. I'm not answering questions of that sort. When I say questions, I mean again family friendly, jovial type questions. Giving you. I'm not giving you some sort of hasty legal advice. Not no. That's you need to consult. You need to consult a lawyer. That would be my answer. You need to consult a lawyer if that's even true, because most people come on here and say random shit and it's not real. But assuming that is real, you need to consult a lawyer. I'm not going to give out hasty legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. uh Adeline Pena says, "How are you today?" I'm fine, thank you. Thinking of doing a second run this evening. But yeah, guys, that should be my third proviso. Yeah, so I might have to make a third proviso. Don't ask me legal questions. I am not a paid lawyer. I have never taken the bar. I've never even taken the LSATs. Um, I will not give out any dubious legal advice. As someone who is a victim of bad legal advice, I will not give anyone else bad legal advice. I will tell you consult a lawyer. So yeah, that's my third proviso. So yeah, family friendly questions, no therapeutic questions because unless you drop in a super chat. And third, no legal questions because I am not a lawyer, despite how I may look on TV. I'm joking. But if anything, I will hope that people will respect the fact that I'm not going to give them bad advice, other than just trying to that I would just tell them random stuff to make myself seem smart. I have no desire to try to make myself seem smart to random people, so I'm not going to give out bad advice just to look like I know what I'm talking about. What's up, Carlton? I decided to do another Ask Me Anything format. Oh, by the way, guys, I do have it set up that you can come live with me. Pause, pause, pause. Let me rephrase that. I this live has been structured so that I can invite guests on here. Um, I should have unfortunately I should have like taken down the link so I could have given it to you. There we go. No, um, shoot. Uh, Dang, I guess I can't because all right, I'll have to. Well, we'll have to redo that next time. So next time, I do a ask me anything. No, 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 no. It probably won't be a ask me anything. It might be a structured topic for the next live stream that I decide to do it. But I will be inviting guests on. Okay. Um, I was trying to do that today, but I forgot to copy the link. to put in to put in the chat room for you guys if you wanted to come live on here. Uh, my bad. I'll do that next time. So next time I'm thinking I'll invite people. You know, I'm gonna put a link in the chat room, and then people, if they don't mind showing themselves on screen, can come on here and chat it up with me. Now, mind you, you don't actually have to show your face if you don't want. If you want to be like in the dark or something of that nature, you, we can do that. But I will screen people first before I allow them on, because some people might come on here with the shenanigans, and I don't want anybody coming on here with any sort of shenanigans. Yeah, I'm not giving you a mod. I don't know who you are. That's not going to happen. Everyone who I've made mods are people whom I have trust uh, in in them being reasonable people. I'm not going to just randomly assign someone mod who's probably some troll or deviant. So I'm sorry. And you already sound like you're neurodivergent. So you're definitely not being my moderator. With all due respect, no. Did I work out? Of course, bro. Uh, Even better, Carlton. Yo, I've gotten back to my early 4 o'clock schedule. So since last week, I've been busting it out. Pause. Getting up at 4:20. I go for my long run. Then I stretch. I do my first stretch. So I found that at our age we gotta stretch like every day. So I stretch twice a day. So I'll do my first stretch after my run, go out and you know beat up the air with my shadow kickboxing, uh, and then to come back in and do my some more stretching. Then I'll usually you know shower, and if I'm hungry, eat breakfast. Depending on, because I'm not hungry that early on, but and chill, kick it with the wife a little bit, then take a nap, work, and then hit it again with either a second run or doing some calisthenics or hitting the gym, whichever. Because at least if I hit the gym, I can lift and run the treadmill. But if I'm home, I'll just do another road run and do some calisthenics. So yeah, I'm planning on doing that tonight late. Maybe doing a quick little run and some calisthenics before I go to bed. But yeah, I've been at it for like a whole week, man. So I feel great, because it's been hard for me to get up there early, because I've been staying up so late, either live streaming or working or talking with the wife, or binge watching TV or something. So I would always end up like working out later during the day. But it feels great to do it that early, and it's literally roosters. Even though I live in Baltimore County, they are literally roosters. I'm pretty sure that those are our immigrant neighbors in the community that have the roosters. But um, yeah, I'm literally up as the roosters are crowing, so that feels good. It means I'm doing something right if if I'm out running before the roosters are crowing. 'Cause by the time I'm halfway through my run, I hit a rooster. So I'm like, good. I've beaten the roosters. That 4:30 a.m. thing. Remember that? I don't know if you guys remember. Like that became a trend amongst all the billionaires. Was the whole 4:30 a.m. wake up, and I think most of them were bullshitting. Like they did it. Basically, they were just doing it because it was sold to them as something that only the elite can do. So therefore, they wanted to do it when you had former Navy SEALs uh, and self help gurus talking about the 4:30 a.m. workout. When I was doing it before it was even a thing, I was getting up around 4:35. to go run, and then I slacked off. Then I started it back up again. But I remember this was like a trend 10 years ago. Like Mark Zuckerberg and all those other little fuck faces were claiming to do it, but I think they've all stopped doing it because you don't hear them talking about it anymore. The early morning air is cursed. You know what? Good thing about early, it's it's something unique about the early morning. Like it's never like, even when it's cold, it doesn't feel unbearable. And during the summer, it's still cool before it gets unbearably hot. Because usually, well, the last 2 summers have been quite brisk. But I would say several summers ago, like usually by the time it was 8 a.m., it was already hot as freak, right? So, like if you got up around 4:30 and you're out beating the pavement around 5 a.m., it's still like it would be like at worst seven in the 70s, approaching the 80s. But by the time it was like 8 a.m., it was like already like in the upper 80s, 90s, and it was just unbearably hot. So that early morning air is like perfect. But I hope the guy, if Emil is here, I hope you go consult a lawyer, bro. Because if what you were saying was real, yeah, you're gonna need you're gonna need some legal help with that. There is a YouTuber who does do such legal consultations. His channel is called The Legal Eagle. I forgot the name of the lawyer who runs that channel, but Legal Eagle does have offices throughout the country. I would also say the black lawyer Dennis Sperling, but I think he mostly only deals with I forgot the type of law, but basically he's like an ambulance chaser. That that sort of thing. I don't know if he deals in the sort of legal help that you require. There's also the lead attorney. I'm not sure if he's still a practicing lawyer or not, um, but he was mostly, from what I remember, a divorce lawyer. My father was an attorney, but he stopped practicing a long time ago, mainly due to some problems that he had. I won't go there, but I'll say this: even if he was still a practicing lawyer, I wouldn't advise, I wouldn't send anyone to him because I don't trust his legal acumen either because of past experiences. So yeah, go just do your due diligence and find a lawyer. But oh, I didn't set my. It's not like. Can I set a goal here for? Oh, I can send an invite link to a guest. Good, good, good. Here we go. Okay. Now how do I put this in the? How do I put this in the chat room? Let's see. I don't think I have a way to. All right, let me. So first, I want to set a goal for super chats. All right, guys. So I just set my super chat goal. If I, so if you guys can see that on your screen, I just set a super chat goal. Give me 10. If I get 10 super chats, I'm going to show you guys a martial arts technique. Now, I last year my goal was to hit 10,000 subs, and I said when I hit 10,000 subs, I'm going to teach you guys how to do the Bruce Lee's 1 inch power punch. So even though that goal was set for last year, that's still in effect. Once I hit 10,000 subs, as a reward, to my audience here. I'm going to teach you guys how to do the one arm power punch. Um, but going forward, like I said a few months ago, I'm a, when I try to hit these little super chat goals, I'll teach you guys a technique. Anytime I reach a super chat goal, I have not reached the super chat goal yet, but once I do, I don't mind showing you guys a martial arts technique, or for people who aren't interested in martial arts, it can be something more, I don't know, intellectual if you like. We'll see. But for this goal, I will. Uh, for this goal, yeah, I will teach a martial arts technique if I hit that super chat of 10. I gotta hit 10 super chats. And I'll show you guys something cool. And I'm not going to like just do something flashy just to impress you guys because that would be nice. But I would think you will want to learn something that you can actually use. But tell me if I'm wrong. If you rather me just do something flashy, I'll do something flashy. But if you want me to actually teach you something practical that you can do without having like, years of experience like I do, then that seemed like that would be better, more rewarding for you guys. Carlin says, funny question. Do you think Marvel will make Trump a villain in a movie, Avengers Trump Mania? No, I think Marvel has been learning its lesson. If you look at the Doomsday trailers that came out, if you haven't checked them out, the first trailer was Steve Rogers coming back. Steve Rogers is back. The second one is Thor, but they made him they they made him serious again. He's no longer a buffoon. Um, the third trailer was the Fox Marvel X-Men being brought into the MCU, and they showed Professor X and Magneto, and it showed my boy Cyclops in his blue uniform, looking up, looking like a straight beast. Like this is the Cyclops we want, not the emasculated Cyclops they gave us in the old Fox movies. Cyclops was not some simp brown like Professor X brown noser the way they portrayed him in the X Men animated series back in the '90s, nor in the movies. He like he's in the comic books. He's on a level when it comes to fighting and strategy with Captain America. He's like up there. He's like top tier as far as being a leader, uh, a a strategist, um, a master tactician, um, being a all round beast of a fighter. Not to mention using his his psionic blast. I mean, not psionic. His I think plasma blast. Like he is an all round beast. They really like did him a disservice in the animated series because it was more about Wolverine, and then the movies did the same thing. Wolverine is still my favorite X Men character, and still one of my favorite Marvel characters. Period. Like he's actually my second favorite superhero. My first being Batman, and then my third one being Spider Man. So it's funny. I'm more of a DC geek than a Marvel geek, but most of my favorite heroes are actually from Marvel. Uh, Cyclops isn't in my top 10, but he is one of those superheroes I really like, and they did him a disservice. So hopefully in Doomsday they're gonna do him well. The fourth trailer for Doomsday just came out today, and it's showing Shuri as Black Panther again, unfortunately, and then M'Baku as the King of Wakanda, and Namor. And I'm not going to call him Namor because no, he his name was never meant to be Mexican. What? So no, I'm sorry. It's Namor, the Submariner, but Marvel Studios doesn't own the rights to the name Submariner, so they just keep calling him Namor. Yeah. they meet up with the Thing from Fantastic Four. So we'll see how that goes. I can see why that was the fourth trailer, not the first trailer, because no one gives a shit about those new characters. Everyone was psyched to see. It was actually because of the first trailer that I've decided I'm going to go see Doomsday in the theaters. If Because I had already said to many of my friends, I was like, if Steve isn't a part of this, I'm not going to see it. It's not the Avengers without Steve Rogers. And I know, and then I don't need geeks telling me, yeah, but Captain America wasn't in the original lineup of the Avengers. I was like, yeah, that's in the comics, but in the MCU, he was a founding member of it. I know he wasn't a founding member in the comics. That still doesn't matter. Even in the comics, I don't care about the Avengers unless it has Steve and Tony in it. So yeah. But oh, as far as Trump being a villain, I'm sorry, Carlton. I went off on this long tangent. I don't think so. They learned that they're pandering to to uh, the woke left has hurt the brand significantly. So I don't think they're gonna make any overt. Now, like I said, it might be some subtle digs, but they're not. I highly doubt after the flop, all after 6 years of flops, that they're gonna make any overt references to Trump that piss off half the country. Like when you're trying to rebuild a brand that's been floundering for 6 years, it wouldn't make sense to piss off a potential half of your fan base. They've learned that through almost they learned that after half a decade, over half a decade of flops. The only people making the overt Trump reference is the boys, and I've already the new season of Gen Z. I mean, sorry, Gen V. It's supposed to be Gen Z anyway, but the newest season of Gen V is so horrible. I can't even watch it. I couldn't get past the second episode. I was like, this shit is trash. Like it's just trash. And the boys, like the comics was not about it being this anti MAGA, anti Trump, anti conservative rhetoric. It was basically that the creator of the boys hated superheroes, but they pivoted from that in the first season to making it all about being anti Trump. So I'm not even sure if I'm gonna watch the last season. Besides, they've changed it so much from the comic book; it's ridiculous. Like, um, spoiler alert here, but not really a spoiler because they changed it from the comic book. So this has really gonna have nothing to do with how the show ends. But in the comic books, you find out that Homelander wasn't actually the evil one doing all this crazy stuff. It was actually Black. What's his name? Black Noir or whatever his name is. He was actually secretly a clone of Homelander, who was psychotic, and all the stuff that was being attributed to Homelander was actually he doing it, and he actually ended up murdering Homelander. After and like some of the things I think is still going to happen in the next season. I think they're still going to storm the White House and all this stuff. I think most of the boys are going to die. That Doug or whatever his name is has to put down um, the the British dude. Sorry, I don't remember their names, but the boys is the only one I know is making the overt anti-Trump thing with him being the villain. With Homelander being the problem with the that kind of backfired though. The whole thing of trying to uh, uh, make Homelander as like a stand-in to mock Trump is that now that people are seeing Trump in that superhero look in that superhero way, so people actually started liking. So it backfired because it just made a lot of people who approve of Trump actually like the character Homelander instead of disliking him. So that's what happens when you try to play politics with this sort of stuff. So That was a long answer. Sorry about that, bro. He says Avengers Doomsday will do 1 billion in the box office. We'll see. I mean, they. The problem is, it still looks like it's a. It still looks like it's Marvel is looking desperate because they brought back the Russo brothers, and the Russo brothers said that they will come back to do Secret War because after Doomsday they're gonna do Secret War. They always said they wanted to do it, but it seemed like at the time when Marvel had pivoted to all this forced diversity um, and inclusion, that they weren't interested in the Russo brothers. Like they weren't even like they didn't have people in the writers room or in the directors roles who were white males. Like you had to be diverse in some way. You had to be female and you had to be colored, and even better if you're queer. So they wanted queer, colored, non males. Since they think there's like 1,300 genders or whatever, but yeah. So you had to be, if you were a straight white male, you uh, Marvel and Disney weren't really fucking with you between like from around 2019 to 2022. Um, but it looked like they learned their lesson. Um, but it still looks a little bit desperate. When I first saw it, looked desperate. I'm like, oh, y'all bringing back Tony Stark. So now we know. So Doctor Doom is not going to be Victor Von Doom. He's going to be a variant of Tony Stark. So they've already confirmed that Doctor Doom in this movie is going to be a variant of Tony Stark. So it just kind of smacks of desperation. Like let's get back the hottest actor from Marvel because we need to bring back our we need to get the fans back because no one cared about all these young derivative diverse actors, diverse characters. I'm sorry. No one wanted to see a replacement to Hawkeye, the replacement to Captain America, the replacement to the Hulk, um, the replacement to Thor. No, just give us those legacy characters. By the way, I saw Yelena, Black Widow's sister, getting dug out on Oppenheimer. So if you ever wanted to see the the White Widow nude, go see her on Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was fucking the shit out of her. But anyway, that's random, neither here nor there. Will Doomsday do 1 billion? I don't know. I'm thinking they're gonna at least. I think they're gonna at least hit at 800. Um, like I said, the problem is Doomsday is banking on nostalgia, where the everything in the Infinity Saga was not built on nostalgia. It's the same, like basically Marvel is having the same problem that Star Wars has been having for the past 10 years. Is that it's built on nostalgia, like their Infinity Saga was built on Marvel being creative. I think one of the problems is that I recently learned was that during the Infinity Saga, there was a there was a creative t- there was a creative team around Kevin Feige, and after the Infinity Saga, I think he disbanded his this creative team that he had about him, where now he's just making the sole decisions, and that shows in the lack of quality of the films and Disney Plus series that have came out since. There's been a few good, really, really good things, but three really good movies doesn't offset 6 years of really bad content. Like you had Spider Man No Way Home, you had Guardians of the Galaxy 3, you had Deadpool and Wolverine, and you had a low key banger that was on Disney Plus, Werewolf by Night, which a lot of people didn't watch. But go ahead and watch that. Werewolf by Night was really good. And if you do see it, watch the black and white version. Don't watch the colorized version. The black and white version is dope. So you had these you had these three bangers on the screen, and this one low key banger on Disney Plus. Everything else has been trash or mid. A lot, not everything was like pure trash. Some things were just mid. Like Loki was mid. Um, the WandaVision was mid. But yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff was either trash or mid, and it's due to bad decision making. So I can't, back in the day, like I said, like 6, 7 years ago, it'd have been no question that the next Avengers movie was going to be $1 billion because every Avengers film had hit 1 billion. When Avengers came out, it actually did better than the Dark Knight because the Dark Knight I think hit like 1.1 billion. Then you had the Dark Knight Rises, which I think hit about 1 billion itself, and then Avengers came out that same year in 2012 and hit like 1.2 billion, something like that. You guys, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know it did just slightly better than the Dark Knight, which at the time was the highest, the most successful superhero film ever. Until the Avengers, and then everyone hit, even the one that people don't like that much, Avengers: Age of Ultron, that still hit 1 billion. Then of course Infinity War did, and Endgame did, and so another pivot the Russo brothers are doing again both for the sake of nostalgia and because they know what fans have actually been pining for is that Doomsday is going to be a direct sequel to Endgame. It's not going to follow. So Doomsday is not following from the end of what happened in the multiverse saga. Instead, it's going to be a The Russo brothers say it's going to be a continuation from Endgame. Like whatever leads to Doctor Doom appearing is going to be a direct result of what happened in Endgame. Like some people say, it's going to be the snap that is going to be Tony Stark's snap that causes the effect, some effect to go into what causes the Avengers Doomsday. Um, some people were thinking like that, in another universe, this variant of Tony Stark does the same thing with that disastrous results, or that there was some sort of incursion. Others think that it was uh, Chris Evans going back into the sacred timeline to replace everything they took, and that somehow he did something that created an alternate timeline, and that's where things have gone awry for the new in the new movie. So we won't know until this December because it doesn't come out in the summer. It was pushed back until December, and they already have a time. They already have a clock set up on YouTube that counts this count like ticking away. Like when in live, it's in real time. Like they have a timer in real time, clocking till when the movie is released. So it says like 11 months, X amount of days, X amount of hours, X amount of minutes, X amount of seconds. So it's literally uh, ticking down to the day that Doomsday is released. This is how much promotion they're putting into it. They're they are putting everything into this because they know they need this to work. They need to hit that billion. I'm not confident they will. I think they will at least hit 800 million. And I know you might not think it's a big difference between 800 million and a billion. It is to say 1 billion. Anything is more is incredible over 800 million. So especially because they need to hit they need 1 billion just to even with all the promotion going into it, not to mention whatever the production budget was, because we'll never know the marketing budget. Like they rarely put that on the books, like the marketing and promotion. Like excuse me, but the production budget alone is astounding. and then whatever the marketing budget. So they're going to need it to hit $1 billion just for them to break even. Seriously, and they'll consider that a success just to be able to bring back the not just the loyalists who rocked with everything that they put out in the past 6 7 years, but to bring back all the fans that they've pretty much pushed away with all the forced diversity, with the bad writing, you know, with the overt political decisions they've made and stuff like that. So they need $1 billion. And Tyler, I'm not giving you shit. I don't. You need to go suck a dick for some money if that's what you need money. If you need money, I suggest you go suck a dick. Get paid to do that. Carson says, I hope they make Hulk masculine again. Starbucks Hulk is not it. Yeah, smart Hulk. But look who's playing him. The guy who plays him is a fucking pussy. This was the same jackass who was at the Globe Awards talking about be good. We're all wearing this for such and such because she was taken out by ICE and blah. Like people forget, and so the the Chicago police commissioner so, was saying he was like, you guys forget ICE as a law enforcement agency. He's like he's like it is not legal for you to just box in law officers of the law. He said, I don't care whether it's local, state, county, or federal. He said you couldn't just box in law like police officers. Where do you get the and then like he's like the stuff people are doing to ICE agents, he's like shows so much disrespect for law enforcement. He's like you couldn't get away no one would try this with any other branch of law enforcement. Imagine someone imagine a bunch of people trying to do that to the NYPD or LAPD or the Chicago PD or wherever you are, or the state troopers or whatever. People will try this with ICE and Border Patrol, and I say with and Border Patrol because a lot of these little liberal faggots. Oops, shouldn't have said that. these fanukes uh, don't know the difference between Border Patrol and ICE, um, but disrespect them all the same, and think they can like you got people like they got Ice Watch. Like he was like, do you know that would be a palpable threat to law enforcement to say that you have an activist group watching law enforcement officers? That would be that would be grounds for them to to you know take care of that situation because if you have a group and this is why people like Christy Nome are saying they're domestic terrorists. Because if you got an activist group that's sitting there watching law enforcement, that is a threat to those agents and their family. Like that's crazy. And like I said, you wouldn't do this with any other branch of law enforcement, but because these people think that ICE is illegitimate, they can do these things. And he's like, it doesn't matter what you feel about them. At the end of the day, they are still law enforcement agencies. You may not like what they're doing, but you can't commit a crime against them just because you don't like what they're doing. And the Chicago police commissioner was exactly right about that. And that woman was not murdered. Like first of all, they're harassing the officers. They're part of this little activist watch group, which again, we don't know their intentions. Like I said, if this was any other branch of law enforcement and there was a group that was set up to 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 patrol and harass these law enforcement officers, they would have every right to come at them. And then when she sped off, it doesn't matter if she didn't intend to hit the guy. Self defense does not have to be exact. Like this, this and this because this is also I mean, how people get in trouble who own firearms, where people be like, well, you should have done this, you should have done X, Y, and Z. Self defense does not have to be perfect for it to be self defense. As long as something is a reasonable threat to your life, you can you can use your weapon. Mind you, this guy had just got back onto duty after being dragged by a vehicle. So he had been taken out and had to get hospitalized because previously he had been dragged by a vehicle. And now you got someone who almost hit him. Like in that moment, like it's a self defense thing. Take law enforcement out of it. Take the whole illegal immigration thing out of it. If someone is speeding at you, that makes them an imminent threat at the time. It doesn't matter what their intent was. So anyway, but yeah, fuck Mark Ruffalo. They need to get a more masculine actor to play the Hulk. Edward Norton was great, but he doesn't work well with people apparently. um, but he was a good Hulk. His movie wasn't good, but he was a good Hulk. But Mark Ruffalo is a retard, and I'm glad Bill Maher, even though I disagree with Bill Maher, at least he was like, yeah, I disagree with what happened to Renee Good or whatever and all that sort of stuff. He said, but I'm not gonna wear a freaking button. He's like, let's. He's like, these guys are ridiculous. um, but yeah, I don't. Even if we do get a masculine Hulk again, we're never gonna get World Breaker Hulk. We all. This is what the fans don't want smart Hulk, fucking faggy Hulk. I'm sorry. I know I'm getting demonetized for saying that twice. But we need to bring, just like we brought back the R word, we need to bring back the F word. Like that's because that's what Mark Ruffalo is. He's a pillow biting Fanuc. Um, dude, bring back a masculine Hulk, and not just a masculine Hulk. We want World Breaker Hulk. We can have, like, since they already introduced Sentry into the MCU through the Thunderbolts, you could have a World Breaker Hulk versus the Sentry. It could be he fighting the Sentry, that they subdue him and get him kicked off planet. So whatever. I doubt they ever do that though. Carlin says, "Do you think some people see ICE as glorified security guards instead of federal law enforcement?" Yes, I do. I do. They do not realize these are federal law enforcers. Like, just because you don't respect what they do doesn't mean that they're not law enforcement. You can, like I said again, like the Chicago police commissioner said, you can't commit a crime against these people just because you don't like what they do. And what some of these people are doing is illegal. Like I said, you have an activist watch group. Like, that is a palpable threat to these people. It, like, people always tease them for wearing masks and, why are you covering your face? Why are you covering? Because of these nuts. These people will dox them and their families because they don't like what they're doing. Mind you, these people are helping the nation by getting rid. No one is these, and then they try to make it that it's racist to get rid of illegal immigrants. They're not against these ethnic groups. They're against illegal immigrants of whatever group. Mind you, if a lot of them didn't wear a mask, you would see that a lot of them are colored people. There are a lot of black and Latino ICE agents, and they believe in their mission because you're getting rid of illegal immigrants who are criminals. First of all, being an illegal immigrant is a crime in itself. But then when you come here and you commit crimes as an illegal immigrant, and you get through these legal loopholes because you live in some sanctuary city where they won't where they're not going to really throw throw the book at you or deport you as they should. Yeah, they a lot of these people do see ICE as glorified security instead of seeing them in their role as federal law enforcement. And again, ICE was set up through the Patriot Act. Like people, I keep saying this because I was arguing this with my friend several months ago on my video. If you saw this a year ago, when we were talking about this, we was sitting there having this debate outside of a Jamaican restaurant before we went in to eat, and I was like, people who hate all this stuff, I was like, some of you, like he was too young, but I'm like, some of you don't know your political history. I was like, ICE was formed out of the Patriot Act and you know, the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, a lot of the um, domestic domestic wiretapping, and other things. This all came out of the Patriot Act, and I was like, if you guys weren't hip to it, they were referencing the Patriot Act in The Dark Knight Rises when they talked about the Harvey Dent Act. The Harvey Dent Act was an allegory to the Patriot Act, and it was talking about it was debating whether the Patriot Act went too far because the Dark Knight with the Joker, he was he represented our fear of terrorism at the time. Remember how he was literally terrorizing Gotham at the time, and you know it was a question of was Batman going too far to stop the Joker by using everyone's cell phone within Gotham's metropolis to see everything that's going on, sort of like the surveillance, the very surveillance that was going on at the time as a result of the Patriot Act. Like so, uh, too bad people didn't see that allegory. But in any case, if you want to be mad at ICE and all this sort of stuff, be mad at the people who voted for Bush and or the people, whether that was they themselves or their parents. Also, be mad at the presidents who came after Bush, who reauthorized the Patriot Act each time. Obama talked a lot of shit about Bush, but he reauthorized the Patriot Act. On top of that, he was doing more black ops that even George Bush didn't sign on to during his administration. Like all those secret drone, like all those secret drone operations throughout the Middle East, from places like Yemen to Somalia, Afghanistan, and so forth. These were uh, these were military strikes that were not authorized by Congress. Yet you didn't see a whole bunch of blue-haired, septum-piercing fat fucks uh, complaining then about Obama because he was the right color and said the right words. But his little secret drone war, where was all the protesting then? All those little black ops missions, and this wasn't something that came out of the Wall Street Journal or the Daily Caller or Blaze TV or Daily Beast or the Daily Wire, any of those right leaning institutions. No, this came out of the Washington Post, the left leaning liberal Washington Post reported that that Obama was green lighting black ops missions that even Bush had had rejected. So, and for all his talking about the authoritarianism of Bush, he reauthorized the Patriot Act under his watch. Um, so did Biden. He reauthorized the Patriot Act under his watch. national intelligence has gone up. Like the our national uh our national intelligence community is already bloated, over bloated. Before the Patriot Act of 2001, like we had 16 agencies in the intel community at the time. It became 17 when they established the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, that reports directly to the president, because it used to be that the CIA was supposed to report directly to the president. But the problem was the CIA had a nasty habit of not sharing intel, as well as other agencies hoarding intel as well, because they all wanted to keep it for their own leverage. So the DNI was formed as part out of the Patriot Act as well, so that all the intelligence from these 16 other agencies could be uh, could be collected, collated, and made cohesive to report to be reported directly to the president through the uh, the DNI. And then it grew. The national intelligence, excuse me, the national intelligence community grew to 18 once uh, we started Space Force, because every military branch has its own branch of national intelligence. Okay, so, and I'm not even sure every branch needs its own national intelligence. um, when we already have DIA, which is the Defense Intelligence Agency, that works directly with all the different military intel and stuff. Whatever. Anyway, that was a that was, I don't know, convoluted, but that's all just to say that yes, ICE is federal law enforcement agents, and they the people who hate everything about Trump, and hate right leaning institutions in the government, think that they can just disrespect these people, and then they're butthurt when when they realize these people will shoot them for committing crimes against them. You cannot you cannot assault law enforcement officers. I don't care whether you don't like them or not. You can't assault law enforcement officers. You can't you can't set up you can't set up some secret watch groups against them. That's crazy. That's crazy work. I'm sure some of you, will have. I know I'm only talking to one person right now, but for people who will be watching this broadcast on replay, some of you have family and friends in law enforcement. Some of you may actually be law enforcement watching this. How fucking crazy would that be, that there would be a secret watch group watching your loved ones or you because they don't like your agency? or and I'm like I said, and it doesn't matter whether you're talking about on local, state, county, federal, whatever. Like, that's crazy. You can not like ICE, but that doesn't mean that you can't that you can disrespect the fact that they are federal law enforcement officers. Don't have to like them, but you better respect them, or they can arrest you. They can and will arrest you. People, these little blue haired, mentally ill folks think gets so shocked and upset when they get arrested. You can't do this to me. Yes, they can. I don't know why people think ICE aren't federal law enforcement. They treat them like they glorify security, like Carlton said. Is ridiculous. guys. I don't know if anyone's still here, but I'm gonna call it quits since no one's still around. Did anyone have any lasting questions? And again, so I have three provisos to my asking anything. One is make sure the question is family friendly. Like, I don't care if you roast me in your question, and if anyone has been on my lives or in my videos or commented on my videos, you know that I don't care if you roast me as long as if it's funny. I don't care if you roast me. That's funny to me. I grew up in an age where we cracked on each other for fun. And so I wouldn't get mad if someone made fun of me if it was funny. Like if it was funny, it was funny. They's like, yo, what the fuck you wearing? He's like, are those Jordans? Are those Jordans? Them damn pro wings. If you don't know what pro wings are, consider yourself uh, well coming from a well-to-do family because there were days, at, le- at least I can say I always had good sneak. I always had sneakers on my feet that weren't falling apart. And some of my friends told me that when we were younger, they sometimes had to tape up their sneakers because they were falling apart. Now I never had sneakers that fell apart, but sometimes I did have the shoes that came out of Payless Shoe Source. I don't care. At least I always had fresh shoes on my feet, whether they were Pro Wings or whatever. I don't care. And you would get roasted for it. But hey, if it was funny, it was funny. I couldn't get mad. Matter of fact, if you could laugh along with it, then people will respect you for it because they be like, all right, at least he got a good sense of humor. Like he can laugh about it. Like the guy who would be getting all mad and wanting to fight or like crying, like that's gonna make the situation worse. Like you worrying about, oh, the girls aren't gonna want me because I'm wearing pro wings. Look, if you can carry yourself in confidence, you already that's 50% of the battle right there. But anyway, no one's here, so I'm a rock out. Um, and I will talk to you folks later. Um, but if there were any lingering questions, ask them now. And if ever hold your peace. No, I'm joking. If you have questions and I couldn't get to it, you can just leave it in the comment section once I post this. All right, guys. Thank you, Carlton. Peace out, guys.